Hey everyone, Destin here from iGen with John Ryan.
Hey buddy.
John, we got to see Cyberpunk 2077.
We
I'm
did.
seeing it for the second time. You saw it for the first time.
I did. It was so fun.
So tell me what your experience was like.
It was everything I hoped it would be and more. No, but it was also very much what I've heard, very much the same as the E3 demo, except with a few really key differences.
So you played as a lady. You went to the
No, I didn't actually.
Right.
No, we actually in the new Gamescom demo, you have the option to play either as female V or as a male V. And so our demo is to play the male version.
They gave you the choice. Cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, like to see that mechanic actually implemented. And so yeah, you had the choice. We played as a man in our demo. Much of the story stuff, all those beats stayed the same, but little interactions.
Yeah, the first scene, you're trying to help somebody who's basically dying. They're they're being like salvaged for parts.
Yep.
That was mostly the same.
All of the key story beats, except for towards the end, which we'll get to, were pretty much beat for beat the same. When you play as a man, the only real difference is interaction differences. People refer to you differently, and it's beyond what they usually do when you have male or female, where they just re-record like strictly characters saying like he, she.
Yeah.
And they actually went ahead and changed like little colloquialisms and like added a bunch of different ways of referring to you based on your gender. I thought it was a really interesting choice. The cool thing too was that we actually get to see, we know that they talked about having LGBTQ plus relationships in Cyberpunk. The one thing that didn't change from the interaction standpoint, V at one point goes on a little bit of a bender, has a night of good old-fashioned debauchery, and wakes up with a unknown partner the next morning, which was in the E3 demo, I believe, a man.
Yeah, so I watched the female perspective. She wakes up with a guy, and then he sort of bounces out.
Right, and it's also a dude when V. Male V. As a male character, you also wake up with a man in this demo as well.
Okay, cool.
Which I don't, obviously no huge story ramifications or implications.
Hey, he likes dudes. Whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's just a really nice bit of inclusivity to see that they're committing to having that diversity in their game.
Now let's talk about the real changes. So there's one point where you basically have to choose what you do with this this gang, and you're trying to buy a little robot for your mission, and that's where the choice aspects come in. What happened in your playthrough?
So in both playthroughs, you have the option. You basically get a credit card with $50,000 on it
just
to
give
buy
it to them,
the thing, and
fry their brains.
Well, so what's on the credit card is basically a virus that you're not supposed to tell the gang members you're buying stolen weapons from about. Of course, you can, and in the new demo, in our demo for Gamescom, you do take that choice. Now, in the original one, what happened in the E3 demo?
You give it to them, their brains fry, and then you go they go into lockdown. You have to hack your way out, and most of that remained the same, but the way it played out was a lot different because you give them the heads up at Gamescom.
So instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, sure, no, go ahead, take that money," it's A-okay, and then their circuits get all fried and they get super mad. We actually could have walked away entirely because we said, "Hey, here's the money, and by the way, there's some weird technical virus stuff on there. You probably don't want to put that in your system." And they're like, "Oh, all right, cool. You can go. Hey, that's a stupid jacket."
Yeah.
And that's really what did it.
Yeah.
It got to the point where our partner Jackie was like, "Hey, they dissed your jacket. We can't really get out of here."
So you throw a grenade at them.
Exactly. So you just throw a grenade
response.
and lay waste to the whole crew.
So it was a chance to show off the combat scenarios. And actually, one thing that I got to see in this demo that I didn't at E3 was a katana. And the katana actually reflects bullets. It's really cool. The character cut off this person's legs. That was really, really neat to see. That was something I hadn't seen in any of the playthroughs.
Oh, cool. I didn't realize that wasn't in there. That's awesome.
So that was new.
And it's cool, too, because the choice about whether or not to tip off the who are they, the Maelstrom gang, the choice whether to tip them off or not actually changes the outcome of your relationship to that military company for the rest of the game.
That's true.
Because in the E3 demo, correct me if I'm wrong, but the woman who gave you the credit card chip, she was still there at the end, who basically said, hey, good job killing those guys, way to go. But instead, in the Gamescom demo, she apparently didn't do her job well enough because the gang didn't get the data or they didn't get into the network like they wanted. So
instead, the person she had kidnapped shows up and he's there.
Yeah, there's this whole other thing where she kidnapped somebody.
Yeah.
It's a really long demo.
So she's the guy now is just like, hey, we should start working together. And he's a corporate guy. Yeah. So that unlocks the whole Cyberpunk corporate branch.
Yeah. So I think it's obviously in this case, it was very much just to show you that there are these really big effects that your tiny choices in specific interactions and combat choices can really have that sort of branching effect. And I'm super curious to see what else we get to to learn in that respect.
Final thought, I thought it looked better than the E3 demo. Like, it looked a little crisper to me. I don't know if it's just the projector that they were using, but I'm like, oh, maybe they've been like making it polished up a little bit for the Gamescom demo.
I can't say yay or nay to that because I didn't see it, but I thought it was fun as hell.
Yeah, really good. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, buddy.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. For more on Cyberpunk 2077, keep it right here on IGN.